thanks for joining us on the program today.
Thanks for having me.
And we also have Ileo Kikiro. Thank you as well for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here, Victor.
Very well. And joining us by the Google Plus Hangout, we have Adamu Dankore. He joined us from Iowa in the United States. Thank you as well for joining us on the program today.
My pleasure.
Very well. So let me come back to you. I mean, there have been mixed reactions after the president, made some statements, he made a statement, of course, at the United Nations General Assembly, 73rd one, of course, and after that, not too long after that, he also gave an independence broadcast where he talked about, what he's been doing in the past 3 years. But then the thing is, there has been mixed reactions. But what do you make of what the president said, both at the UN as well as back here at home on Independence Day?
Well, I believe President Muhammadu Buhari did what he was meant to do and said what he was meant to say in a statesmanly fashion, and that is commendable. When he went to the UN meeting, he actually showed that he's not just focused on what's happening in Nigeria but globally, that he's aware of the socio-political implications of every action that nations take. He spoke about, he commended Donald Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un too, about how they were able to come together and be able to form peaceful alliances there. He also spoke about things in Myanmar, spoke about a lot of things that showed that he's vast and knowledgeable about what's happening in the world. And he also, as you know, connected what's happening in our nation when it comes to the farmer-headland clashes and the global warming situation. And that shows that this president not just have a local view, but also an international view, sees Nigeria as a global player. I believe this is one of the first times we'll have a president who will go there and really speak from that kind of perspective. And of course, he gave that message regarding the late Kofi Annan, saying that he was a brother, he epitomized values that every African should actually strive to be. So I believe his speech at the UN was great. His speech on Independence Day had a lot of elements that we need to dissect and be able to see from a holistic point of view. But in essence, he said, what I liked most about what he said was that let's not have a simplistic view about what's happening regarding the farmer headland crisis. Let's be able to see the bigger picture and know that it's more than what meets the eye.
So just to pick up from there, if you're talking about a bigger picture, what picture would that be? I mean, especially in regarding to the herdsmen issues, which was one of the things he talked about also in his independence broadcast. Talking about security of the country. So if you're looking at it from a bigger picture, what else can we put or plug into what is or what has been the narrative so far?
Well, precisely, President Muhammadu Buhari made a huge statement on October 1st, speaking as regards the herdsmen clashes. Precisely, he mentioned that some people are profiting from the clashes in the crisis in Benue and the Middle Belt. And that cannot be far from the truth, because again and again, we've seen that when some politicians and some leaders of thought in those areas, when they mention some words, you see people go gaga, and just recently again, you see the Nigerian military discovered a particular pond in Benue, where several vehicles were found and dead bodies and all that. And before the military decided to drain that pond, you know what had happened. Members of community women actually protested naked. They said the military shouldn't drain that pond. What it means is that they probably know about the atrocities that is probably about the atrocities that is being committed in. So precisely, leaders realize that some people may actually be profiting from this, and that's the truth.
So looking at those comments, generally, now let me look at a comment from someone on Twitter. He said Buhari's speech at the UNGA is best described as a corny case of removing the speck in the neighbor's eye before removing the plank in your eyes. Do you agree?
Well, I don't agree with that statement or with that comment, because he is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He sees the bigger picture. He got others see. what we may see as mere citizens, he's able to see the socio-political implications of every single thing that happens. And Nigeria being a world power and also has a significant role when it comes to international security, terrorism, and all these things, he has to be able to connect the dots and not just talk about Nigeria alone. He's speaking to the UN. He has to show that he has knowledge of everything going on. He has to, because he's representing Africa, so to say, as the most populous nation, black nation in the world, and also the largest economy, one of the largest economies in Africa. So he actually went there as a statesman, not just as a Nigerian politician.
Let me bring Dankore into this conversation. You heard Jermaine as well as Leo, talking about what they feel about what the statements that the president made while he was away in the United States, as well as when he came back, for the broadcast, for the independence broadcast. But do you agree with some of the statements or some of the remarks they have made? Do you think that the president indeed, was right in all of the statements he made?
Thank you, Victor. So this is what I heard from the president during his speeches for 1st of October, Nigeria's Independence Day, and at the UN General Assembly. One, we will take care of you. We know it all. We've known this problem for the past, let's start with 2000. But still, we know it all again, and we are going to help. We understand that there are incessant killings, unrest in Nigeria, but we are going to do more, Victor. That's what I hear. I hear someone repeating the same thing his predecessors have said. And I'm not blaming on Buhari every time I'm featured on this program, Victor, I want to highlight what the issue is. Which is basically for people like Buhari and others and all Nigerians to understand that to curb the violence. He talked about violence in Nigeria and abroad. To curb this and to bring prosperity. He talked about migration, the African migrants dying for lack of opportunities in Nigeria. To curb all these things, Victor, we need freedom.
Yeah, so what kind of freedom are we looking at in this? I mean, what kind of freedom are we talking about?
Victor, the kind of freedom I'm talking about is instead of Buhari thinking that he can do these things, or Atiku, or anyone, we need these powers to be given to Nigerians. That is when this will work.
Are you talking about devolution of powers now?
Yeah, actually, not necessarily. Devolution of powers means to devolve the powers back to the local government. I'm not talking about those. I'm going to give an example.
Quickly.
For example, with oil. I'm talking about giving every Nigerian the right to own his or her oil or any natural resources that they find in their land. So that's the kind of freedom I'm talking about, Victor. When people own stuff, that is when progress happened. In 2002, the Universal Basic Education kicked off in 2004, sorry. As at 2015, when the whole program was supposed to end, Nigeria was ranked 103 out of 106 countries, Victor, that pledged to provide universal basic education. We are rated that poor. That means there's something wrong with people in Abuja, people in our state capital running things for us.
Anyways, we'll come back to that. I mean, you're talking about education. There also has been the statistics going around, about how many children are out of school in Nigeria. But I guess that's a discussion for another day. So let me bring back again, comments from the social media. Ade Jude Deji is saying that President Buhari talks about respect for human rights at the UNGA, but same president has disobeyed court orders on Zakzaki and his wife. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't think you can fault President Muhammadu Buhari on what the commentator called disobedience of court orders.
Yeah, but how do you explain that?
Precisely because we are mere citizens, we don't know the kind of report we have. We get security briefings every day. And precisely, I know the agency that is keeping that particular person in question had said that they're actually keeping him for his own good. So,
but he has repeatedly and consistently said that he needs to be.
That's what he means. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't know much more than a security agent. So they have a security report that comes to them every day. So they know why they're keeping him, and they've said it again and again that it's for his own good, it's for his own safety. God forbid he's released and anything happens to him. Now everybody begins to blame the Nigerian state. Now it's a natural, it's a common thing across the world for the state to actually keep some people or to keep people who they think will be at risk if they are left on them, and that's why even security agencies provide private security, to some private individuals, and so it's a standard, it's a world practice.
Do you agree with him?
Slightly. I believe that President Muhammadu Buhari has again the bigger picture. He's able to see the security situation, the threat that his release or his detainment will pose to the nation, vis-a-vis in relation to his followers, the aggression or non-aggression in certain times, and how in all the matrix in this Nigerian state, how he's able to be kept together. And I remember a couple of months was it in Abuja that some of his followers actually
just before you go into that detail, let's just take a minute and go on a quick break, and we'll be back shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're still with our panelists in the studio as well as on the Google Plus Hangout. So just before we went on that short break, you were talking about some occurrences in the capital. So please.
Yeah, exactly. What some of his followers, what they did in Abuja, protesting, they were tear gas, and they caused some disruption. And that, I believe, actually made the federal government have more reason to keep him and detain him. Yes, people may say right that President Muhammadu Buhari is disobeying court orders, but he made a statement a while ago that was highly disputed, very controversial. Some may say about setting that national interest or national security should supersede individual rights. Though I may not totally agree with that, but you could see the essence of what he was saying, that some people are kept for their own good and also for the good of the nation. So we must see it in that way. If he was truly a dictator, he would have kept every single person that was alleged to be corrupt, that lives a wild and a flashy lifestyle, and locked them behind bars. But if you're able to profile the true people that are being kept, you will see that they are linked to quote-unquote organizations that the nation or the state may deem as terrorists, which other people may not deem as terrorists. But and that is why they are kept. If you don't know other people, they are highly influential with a following that could be highly passive at times, but aggressive at some other times.
Yeah. So again, during the president broadcast, he talked about how powerful social media is, and of course, Nigerians know how social media helped during the 2015 election. Some even believe that the president rode on the back of the popularity of social media, to get to office. But in that broadcast, he talked about how Nigerians need to be careful using social media, and that has also ruffled some feathers, especially on the social media circles. So I mean, what was he trying to say there?
Okay, so there's been this discussion around the world as regards the regulation of the use of social media. But thank God,
internet governance generally.
Yes. But thank God, we've not really seen a law that has diminished greatly the usage of social media, by the youth and everybody. But also, I think social media should not be regulated. I think it should be self-regulating. In other words, according to what Mr. President has said, we should all be careful when we use social media. And I can give you some examples here. In India, I heard just last week that a particular woman was lynched, and the police had to arrest those who lynched her because there was a WhatsApp message that circulated that she was a kidnapper or something like that. And they reached that before, of course, they got to know the truth that
But the investigation.
You understand?
Yeah.
Aside that, coming back to Nigeria now, there was an election that I held just recently, and we know what someone who is a very popular social media influencer, a musician to be precise, what he used the social media account to do, causing tension and all that. Precisely, I'm mentioning Oshun, where there was a particular picture of a certain young man that had died. Only God knows what caused the death of that young man. The picture had been circulating, months before that election.
Let me just quickly quote the president verbatim. He said, we must all rise to the responsibility of shutting out those disruptive and corrosive forces that hide in today's world of social media. But then in 2015, he said, I thank those who passionately carried the campaign on social media. I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
There's a difference between campaign of calumny and campaigning saying the truth. A lot of people say things that are not true on the social media. A lot of people say things to cause tension. A lot of people say things that cause hatred.
Let's quickly hear from Adamu just before we go. Adamu, what do you think about the social media, banter, with the president as well as those who are on the platform? Quickly.
Yeah, Victor. First of all, I do not believe that government should regulate social media. It's going to be a great error to have few people to regulate freedom of speech, because when you have few people regulating freedom of speech, then they would have to discriminate against others. And usually so that is one. Two, when you give government the power, it is likely that that power can get out of control, that government can impose other regulations in freedom of speech. For example, recently, Canada passed a law that mandated professors to refer to someone who is transgender, to call them, if I'm transgender, for example, and I prefer to be called transgender, my professor is required to call me referred me as transgender. And that sent a wave of criticisms. So my point is, you do not give government to regulate speech. If you do, one day government is going to make you say things you do not want to, or stop from things you want to say.
I'll have to just hold you there, but Adamu Dankori, thanks for joining us on the program all the way from Iowa in the United States. It's a pleasure to always have you, always. But guys, I have to say thank you as well. I know you really want to say something, but
I have to say, that what he mentioned was that it was the disruptive and corrosive people on social media that are causing problems. Social media is a great tool, but the president was just talking about those kind of people using it negatively.
All right, I have to say thank you again for joining us on the program, Jimmy, as well as Lil Kikiru. Thanks for joining us on the program today. Well, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please stay with us. But
All right, Victor. So, Sanjimako.